All right, so we all have biases, but where do they come from? We get them really early. What we know about infants is that when they're spending time looking at people's faces, they'll look more frequently at people who look like their caregivers, most often their parents. And infants don't have a sense of right or wrong because they don't know anything. So that's just a small preference toward what is familiar to them. But over time, those preferences will develop. We get into primary socialization, which takes place in our house, with our family, with our close relatives, anybody who is near us at a very young age. Does anybody know any, 4-year-olds? Some. Are they ruthless? Yes. And the feedback that they'll give to you, they'll say whatever, because they've noticed norms, but they haven't picked up yet on rudeness. And so they'll say, Mommy, that lady looks sick, and it's just me with no makeup on. Or I can't understand what that person's saying, and because they're speaking a different language. But typically, when a parent hears that, oftentimes they're like, shh, because they don't want to offend anybody. But they don't as often have conversations about where those biases or assumptions come from because the kid is so young. But we're already forming opinions and thoughts and biases that will stay with us over time when we're very little, whether or not we're being spoken to about it. And secondary socialization will go to school. So we are picking things up from the people around us. Because many of our neighborhoods and our towns and our cities are you're closest to people who are of a similar socioeconomic status to you. Maybe that is based on income or ethnicity or immigration status or race, but often many people are somewhat similar to you where you grow up. And so certain ideas are reinforced and repeated. And then we get into rewards and punishments. Did anyone have an awkward phase? Yeah, I didn't like mine that much. But in the awkward stage, it's usually late elementary school, definitely middle school, and much of high school. So it's a very long stage. For many of us, some people, my little sister, just didn't have one. She went from being a cute kid to a beautiful woman. It's annoying. But in this stage is when we are negotiating our sense of self. And so some people, when they don't fit a certain norm, they want to change things about themselves. And what that sometimes sounds like is, Mom, can I dye my hair blonde? Or can I straighten my hair? Can I get a nose job when I turn 18? Can you please stop speaking our native language in front of my friends? They're making me feel weird. Can you stop cooking the food that we eat in our house? When I bring it to school, people tell me it smells bad. Boo, thank you. And all of those things are heartbreaking to hear an 8th grader say. But sometimes, if we don't break out of that, we end up in the results phase. Have you ever heard the phrase that if you make that face too much, it'll get stuck like that? It's kind of like that. If you repeat changing yourself so often and for so long and with such intensity, sometimes you get stuck like that. And it's not an act anymore. It becomes who you are. But it's not permanent. You can change it and evolve.